All right, so this week for writing, we're going to be writing a how-to writing. So that means we're going to be telling somebody how to do something. So think of making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. So you'd want to tell somebody the first thing you do, next thing you do, and the last thing you do, which are the same words, if you remember, that we're using in math this week. So you're going to have a paper that looks like this. It says how to. And that's where you're going to write your title. So it's going to be where you tell your reader what it is that they're going to learn how to do. And then you have a circle and a box with 3 sets of lines. And that's where you would write your first direction. On your next paper, it's broken into 2 pieces of paper. You see a circle, a box, and the lines, and another circle, a box, and the lines. So if we write number 1 in the first one, in the next circle, we'd write number 2. In the last circle, we'd write number 3. So we're going to do an example together. Now, the very first thing that we always do on our papers is we write our name. So on your, where it says to write your name, I want you to write it super neat. And I want you to remember that when we're holding our pencils, I know it doesn't have a point. I'm going to use markers so you can see better. But when you hold your pencils, remember you are pinching. So you're going to rest it on your middle finger, and you're going to pinch it with your thumb and your index finger. And you want to make sure that you have good control over that pencil, and you're working on your letters from the top of the line to the bottom of the line. So from the strawberry line to the chocolate line. And we'll practice that as we're writing together. So where it says name, you want to make sure you write your name, because otherwise you don't know whose paper it is. So write your name, and then you want to think of what it is that you want to write. You want to think of something that you can tell somebody how to do in 3 steps. So it could be how to make a sandwich, how to ride a bike, how to draw a picture, how to, I think just how to wash your hands. So my how to, I'm then going to write wash your hands. And I'm going to make sure that I'm starting my W from the vanilla line, because I already have my uppercase at the first letter in my sentence. So I'm going to write how to wash. And then to make sure that it's not a run-on word, take my finger and you'll do a finger space. I can't do a finger space and hold the clipboard, so I'm not going to show you right now. But you have to remember to use your finger spaces like we've been practicing. Wash your how to wash your hands. Now I'm thinking how to wash your hands is the title, so I do not need to put a period or a question mark or an exclamation point. Then I'm going to think of, what is the first thing I do when I wash my hands? So the very first thing I do is I'm writing my number 1. So now I'm talking about the first thing. So the very first thing that I do whenever I wash my hands is I turn on the water. Now, what type of water do I turn on when I wash my hands? Do I want cold water or do I want hot water? Good, I want hot water. So I'm going to say number 1. So the first thing I do is turn on hot water. Now, if that's my sentence, turn on hot water, my T at the beginning of my sentence is going to need to start with an uppercase letter or a lowercase letter. I think uppercase letter, because that's the start of a sentence. So I'm going to start at the strawberry line. I'm going to go down to the chocolate line for my T with my little line on top. On the. Now, I don't have room here to write the word hot. So that's why I have these extra lines here. So that gives me more room to write my sentence. Now, just because I go to another line, am I starting a new sentence? Is turn on a full sentence? It's not. So turn on the hot. So the H in hot is going to be lowercase because it is still part of the same sentence. Hot water. Now I'm going to look at my sentence and I'm going to ask myself, is this a telling sentence or an asking sentence? So I'm going to read it out loud. Turn on the hot water. Now, the way I read it, I am not asking somebody to turn on the hot water. I'm telling them how to do it. So if I'm telling you how to do something, it is a telling sentence, and I'm going to use a question mark, a period, or an exclamation point. Think. I know that a question mark I use in a question sentence, and I'm not asking questions, so I'm not going to use a question mark. I'm not excited or saying loudly or surprised, turn on the hot water. Nope, that's not how Mrs. Carmody read it. I would turn on the hot water. So it's a telling sentence, so I'm going to use a period. So make sure you put the period at the end of your sentence. I'm going to come back to the box in a second, so don't worry about that box yet. So that was my first direction. Turn on the hot water. Then you're going to need your second piece of paper. And in that second box, in that second circle, I'm going to write the number 2. So I have my first direction was to turn on the hot water. After I turn on the hot water, I need to do what? I have the water on, so I have to get my hands wet. I have to put soap on them. I have to scrub them. So what we're going to do for number 2 is then I'm going to write next. Next. Get your. Now, my next word is going to go on this line. And remember, it's still part of the same sentence. So is it going to be an uppercase letter or a lowercase letter? Get a lowercase letter. So next, get your hands wet and scrub with soap. And remember, this is what we're going to write with pencils and not markers, because Mrs. Carmody made a mistake, and with a marker, I can't erase it. So I just kind of scribbled it out a little. And at the end of my telling sentence, I'm going to put a period. So my how-to directions are turn on the hot water. The other thing that you could do that I just realized I forgot is you can write first. So if you write first instead of turn, your F would be the capital and that would be lowercase. So you can start it with first, or you can just start it with a direction. So we have turn on the hot water. Next, get your hands wet and scrub with soap. And then number 3, thinking, all right, my hands are soapy now. What do I do with them? I can't leave them soapy and just dry them. So I'm going to write last. Rinse your hands and dry them. Now this sentence, I'm excited because it's the end of my directions. So I'm going to decide that I'm going to say it as last, rinse your hands and dry them. So it's the end and we're excited. So I'm going to use an exclamation point. If you would like it to just be a telling sentence, you may put a period, but I'm going to use an exclamation point. Now, we've written our directions, and now we have these 3 boxes. So what you're going to do in the boxes is you are going to draw a picture that matches your sentence. So I have first turn on the hot water. I need to draw an illustration that matches that sentence. So if I drew a picture of me flying a kite, does that match my sentence? Nope. What about if I drew a picture of my cat playing with my dog? That doesn't match my sentence either, does it? No. So if I'm going to say first turn on the hot water, I'm going to think about that sentence. And I think what I'm going to draw is I'm going to draw I'm going to try to draw a sink. And so we're going to try this. I'm going to draw like, there's the counter. The sink's kind of right there. And there's the faucet. And then there'll be a handle over here and a handle over there. And usually on some faucets, they'll have blue for cold and red for hot. So to show that I want hot water, I'm gonna put a blue there and I'll have some water coming out in the sink because we need that water. And then I'm gonna have red over here. And I'm gonna make a little arrow that points. There we go. I have blue for cold and red for hot, and there's water coming out. And I'm gonna use a little arrow that shows that you want the hot water. So just like we were when we were labeling things, we see the arrows. So that's going to show you hot. And if you would like to label your picture, you can even put hot. You can label the things in your pictures like we've been practicing. But the first thing you do is I want you to brainstorm or think of something that you want to write about. And I want you to write your sentences first, because that will help you then to decide what your illustrations are going to be that matches your sentence. I cannot wait to read your how-tos and to see what you are going to teach me how to do. Alrighty. Have a great break, guys.